The corpse looks at you with bulging white eyes. The face around them does not look human. It's swollen and ready to burst. His lips are fish-like and his tongue like a ball gag in his mouth. You seem to be holding your breath. A cargo belt twists his neck at an unnatural angle. The body below appears stiff. It's letting out an ungodly rot. The smell seeps in even through your clenched nostrils.
Active decay. It's okay to throw up, officer. No one is judging.
He's about to blow! Cop's gonna blow, Kuno!
As you breathe in, the odor comes over you. It's a spell of the mind telling you to run, and your stomach to wring itself empty. With your hands at your sides and your eyes squinting, you stand in it. It's a puzzle. What's hanging in front of you is a puzzle of decaying flesh, tattoos, and tendons. This delicate machine, ready for picking. Instinctively, you crack your fingers.
They do after 7 days, yes. We are deep in decomposition here.
The man before you is naked, but for a pair of underpants and enamel boots. His skin is greenish, marbled with decaying veins and blotched by lividity. A fading web of tattoos covers his chest and shoulders. The cargo belt used to fasten him to the branch above appears industrial in strength. The material appears to be ceramic. Its clean white stands in stark contrast to the decaying flesh above the knee. The man wore thick polymer socks, probably for padding. A fine array of interlocking plates covers them. Delicate and fragile, they feel alien to the world around you, out of place somehow. These are clearly not boots. They're armor, possibly part of a larger set.
Indeed. Technically speaking, these are sabatons, not boots.
Oh, the lieutenant uses a memo technique, A6. That's not just any notebook. It's a classic. It's all you, baby.
Ceramic plate. Zirconium dioxide, most likely. This is where the make would be. Under the hill. Fair weather. Fair weather model T500 VE. I'm guessing that's vitreous enamel. This is advanced stuff. The locals probably scavenged it. It would be odd if he had more on after 7 days. We should keep a lookout for these species. The armor could yield information. This is one thing he might actually know. No, I think he had something precious underneath the clothes. They had to remove the jeans and shirts we found to get to it, and this kind of armor is often worn under fabrics. A good point. He could have been intoxicated, or something we cannot yet imagine. I shouldn't have assumed so much just from the clothes.
What was that? Was the lieutenant just impressed by your unintuitive guess?
It is. It's expensive. We've requested similar material for our tactical units for years now. The constabularies deemed it too costly. In that time, we've lost 6 men to semi-automatics. For a full set, about 4 years of wages.
For the northwest region of Revachol, an officer's average yearly income is 5,500 rial, unadjusted for rank.
Not too much, yes. It's a sorry situation, I agree. You work for Cornell, like Joyce told us. This is military equipment, provided by a wealthy security contractor, with state ties, way above what we have.
A small bell-like sound fills the air, like tapping on the side of a porcelain cup.
It's anything but. This material is a kinetic redistributor. It spreads kinetic energy horizontally, from plate to plate, dissipating it entirely. See?
Faint, organic lines cover the plates where they separate into smaller ones. These plates then divide into smaller plates until there are hundreds of them altogether. Like whirls of floorboards, the design looks organic, influenced by highly resistant wood materials, like lignum vitae and ebony perhaps. If trees were made of porcelain, this is what their cross-sections would look like. The smooth, glossy surface fractures into ever more intricate interconnections, peaking on the right sabaton, where you notice. The whorls are in the shape of a letter and number combination, E50, 100, 1000.
Good. Can you read it to me? We have a make and a number. That's something. We can use the radio in my kinema when we're done. Either station can chase it for us.
This feels dangerous. Are you sure? The stench fills your nostrils. As you push downward, an ominous creaking sound comes from above.
Stop! Pig's gonna pull his head off.
Brutal!
You're going to pull his head off.
Do it, Homo!
Yes, that's what I said. You'll compromise the coroner's case if you do. So please, don't.
Indeed, from this angle, it does look like the neck isn't going to take much more. Being dead for a week has all but liquefied his muscles.
What are you trying to achieve anyway? Why are you hanging on to that boot? How many clues do you need? You already found a number. Besides, there's no way you're getting them off. All the organic matter in his body has been flowing down into the boots. They are fused to his feet now. Why do you think the locals haven't scavenged them yet?
You're sure there's a way to peel them off, but first the body needs to be down. And second, it would probably be better if the lieutenant wasn't around. The anticipation makes you crack your fingers. Feels nice. Nice and cracky.
Processing will take care of them. With the situation in the morgue, it will yield nothing. But we must pick our fights. Should we continue?
The cadaver slowly twists on the cargo belt, his torso covered in tattoos and extremities blotched pink and blue. The hangman's knot is pulled tight by the weight of the corpse below. Yellow, hard-edged polyester cuts into his neck. Above, a sliding buckle ties the belt to the branch. This is a steel-reinforced cargo lashing belt, big brother of the regular cargo belt. It's used for tying cargo under six-rotor airships.
Airlifting. I thought it was used on lorries for strapping cargo to them. The local harbor uses 6 rotors to shuffle containers around. I get the sense they use whatever was on hand without paying much attention to not incriminating themselves. Yes, the debrief we got from the Wild Pines representative appears to be solid too. A lynching is what this looks like. Our internal RCM brief said the same. By the way, when you get the chance, perhaps you should ask me to share the RCM brief with you. I'm pretty sure you've forgotten it. I was afraid it would be. Thin steel wiring, parallel strands. This makes getting him down more problematic than I had assumed. A noose is one of those things that's easier to use one way around. That ladder can't carry a grown man. I didn't see any splintering either, did you? I think they lassoed the branch, then pulled on the belt to close the buckle.
Could be. The shape of the branch supports the theory. The cadaver hangs from the cargo belt, limbs limp and torso covered in tattoos. An intricate web of blue lines stretches across the torso, from the right shoulder to the solar plexus. Each time they intersect, a small white star is formed in their crossing. Hundreds of fading asterisks riddle his skin. Their concentration is highest around his heart. His corpse is marked by stars. Alcohol and heartbreak.
A map of the stars. I do see some similarity to astronomical charts. Great Century Messinian, maybe. But this seems more particular. Customized somehow.
as if someone left out most of the night sky, filtering it through personal choice. The principle of this filter remains unknown to you. The thought dissipates, and you feel as though you were only half right.
So am I.
He takes a thin piece of milled aluminium from his coat pocket and pulls it open. Sounds like a sword being unsheathed. A small lens appears, some sort of camera.
Shit, Kuno! What the fuck is that?
An instant color camera. I have only 2 ampoules, so nobody move. I don't want to waste one.
A sound, a shrill flash, followed by the breaking of a small ampoule of glass. You see streams of color pour onto the thick, glossy piece of paper, rolling out.
In case we need it. Yes, it is pretty cool, isn't it?
There is only one ampoule left. Use it wisely.
It contains insight to the victim's person. This was a man of physical violence. The story he wanted his body to tell was important to him. It is his letter to us. Now, if you could find someone to decipher it. Sure, just don't lose it.
The glassy-eyed corpse looks by, his mouth mute and his skin as colorful as the chemical rainbow on the photo paper, teeming with opportunistic organisms. His eyes are milky white and blind to the world, protruding comically from their sockets. There is no one home, just subaquatic terrors there. Dark brown hair grows on his head. His face is ready to explode from the organic processes inside. The death's head grin has passed. What remains is an unrecognizable mess. Underneath the curdled meat there is an expression, not carried on his features, but below, inside, an expression of pleasure. This man was experiencing joy at the moment of his death.
Why do you think so? There are no supernatural reasons.
I'm gone. Into the wild pale yonder. In the past, way out in the west.
What was that, pale yonder? Do you know what the pale is?
The pale corpo. It spooks me out.
The corpse is silent. The nose in the middle of his face is swollen. So are his cheeks. His lips are motionless.
I'm a joke. Look at me. A killer motherfucker and a killer. Go ahead, Cobbo. What do you mean? It's the power of your imagination.
Yeah, man! Don't be crazy! Inanimate objects and dead people can't really talk to you. Your wild imagination is doing this. Ask some more of those questions you love so much.
He loves those. Because you're a copperoonie. Look at all of them go. Do you want more questions? Coming right up, copperoonie. This is getting upbeat now. Fuck no. You're no Rooney. Between you and me, your name is probably Harry. You can be anything you want, brother Coppo. Because you have. Love did me in, brother Coppo. It was love all along. Sure, Lobo. I can ask you a question. Why are you doing this? Looking at my face, motionless, looking into my eyes, standing here. Why are you investigating my murder?
Something is on its way. Something hidden. It's coming. A miracle from the northwest, and it's almost here. You can feel it in the air, on your hands, the cold spring air smoothing them over.
Do I remind you of someone?
A child born with Muller's disease, harlequinism, grown up miraculously.
No, not quite. Be fair now. You sure I got out of that one, Coppellini? Maybe I was getting my rocks off. It's a mishmash, Coppabolo. You think I'm Messinian, don't you? For you, this is how people from Messina speak like. Well, I'm not from Messina, am I? My hair is too light a shade of brown. Trust your inner racist. You think I am. You think I was a racist because this lump looks military and has tattoos. That's called profiling. Do I look like an erotic auto-asphyxiation type to you? Captain Coppadromo. I fear we are drifting away, fixating on sexuality again. Let's go with a simpler question. Come back later, Corpo. Amuse yourself with my frank manners and my memento mori features. If possible, also, see me in your dreams.
As you narrow your eyes, the monster before you blurs into a violent mess of green and pink. This is a trick. You've done it before. Pink is where the blood settled in the first hours post-mortem. You can use it to see if the corpse has been tampered with. Does his position at the time of death match the discoloration? Only the lower extremities are pink with a dash of blue. His fatted hands, thighs, and his neck, just above the noose. The rest of the corpse appears dark green in the cold spring air.
I see it. His neck too. The lividity goes right up his chin. We have good, well-pronounced discoloration here.
The monster comes back into focus, an explosion of color, coursing with dark marbled veins. His stomach appears pregnant with something. Black liquid streams down his thigh and onto his boot.
So, what do you think? Agreed, especially on the neck. The belt acted like a tourniquet, keeping the blood in his head. The hypostasis supports a hanging. There's always a chance. We should check for ligament marks on his neck to see if they're in tune with the belt. We'll have to get him down first. I agree.
His personality is no longer a part of the world.
Totally dead. Dabadoob-doob dead.
A pool of blood and feces has eaten into the frozen mud below the man's feet. Purge liquid is dripping into it, drop by drop.
The victim appears to have contained no more than half a kilogram of digestion at the time of death.
The fuck he's saying?
Talking about shit.
Maybe. I do. Most of them are post-mortem. Maybe even all of them. The delinquents have made our jobs harder with their little sport.
Stop talking in riddles, coin slot.
He means you fucked him up good, Kuno. Fucked him up brutal like.
But there is no breath to catch. Only the cadaver filling the air and your nostrils. He slowly rotates before you, decomposing.
Are you sure we finished the preliminary examination of the cadaver? We might miss some of these things once he's done.
The cadaver slowly twists on the cargo belt, his torso covered in tattoos, and extremities blotched pink and blue.
The steel-reinforced belt presents a unique challenge. I brought chain cutters, but I don't see a good angle of approach to the belt.
He doesn't actually think the challenge is unique. He thinks it's frustrating, annoying, and harder than he thought.
The cadaver is a good 1.2 meters up. Neither one of us can reach the belt without assistance. And even if we do, there's the question of cutting the airship strength material.
An acrobatic maneuver would solve this situation. Nothing can go wrong with a good maneuver.
Someone else? You mean like the police?
What was that about processing, then? Weren't they supposed to take care of the boots? Why don't they help?
Someone already did. You know who came? We did. Because we have made bad life decisions. I know it's hard, but I assure you, the others won't come to help us. And we have a growing sanitary concern here. We need to get him down, fast. I have thought of that, yes. But the tire tracks would compromise the scene. Any prints would become illegible. That's if we get it through the hole in the fence. Also, my MC has a sloped roof. It's a sports model. The roof is slippery, an all-around bad platform to stand on.
He could come up with at least 4 more reasons why not to trample on the roof of his sports model motor carriage.
Yes, I am attached to it, but it's also unsuitable. We can't bring a supercharged tractor through that tiny gap in the fence, then plow the scene with it, then fall off the roof. It would sound bad on Channel 8.
It sounds fucking hilarious! Do it! Fucking get on top of it and dance, faggoty!
How about I take you, piggyback?
The fuck are these pigs talking about?
Are they bank or something? Oh, it's fucking boring, Kuno. Wish they'd fuck already.
Yes, it's not a good idea.
It's a fucking hilarious idea. You two puskapas get on top of each other and fuck.
In silence, the lieutenant gives you a meaningful glance, as if to say, case in point.
Climb up there and saw the branch?
It seems unclimbable, cause the ladder is treacherously rotten, but you could use your hands and feet to reach around the tree, then hang from the branch.
Honestly, I prefer a non-acrobatic solution to this. Clown cops climb tree, fall down. Enraged cop assaults children after falling from tree. Cretin cop, they like that word, saws the branch he's sitting on, literally. Local children report corpse mutilation.
yeah, climb that shit, monkeys.
See, you're only making them do those things less.
No, I do not see the future. I made those up using 2 decades in the Revacholian police force as a reference point. Oh no. We should be very afraid of newspapers, and the radio stations too. We should be wary of enticing them in any way. What I'm proposing is, we save acrobatic tricks as the last resort, after we've tried everything else.
Oh, these have got to be the most fucking boring mulka parts I've ever seen. Yeah! Bang bang time, pig! Shoot his head off!
How?
Where the buckle ties the rope to the branch, that's a good spot to aim.
Where? Ah, yes, I see. If the shot hits that, there might be a chance to release the belt.
Yeah, now we're talking. Entertain a Kuno with some shit.
They'll miss! The pigs will miss Kuno!
The lieutenant's brow is furrowed. He appears too deep in concentration to even notice what you said. Silence. With his elbow sharp, the lieutenant unzips his jacket and produces a lightweight firearm. He drops a paper cartridge in the barrel, separates the scouring stick, and gives the cartridge 5 tucks, securing it in place. That's a Kiel A9090 Armistice, mass-produced muzzle-loader, ascetic, frugal, one of the most common firearms in the world. He then steps back and assumes the fellow's desk position, taking aim. The corner of his eye twitches. His finger is on the trigger.
He's gonna fucking miss!
The kid's voice is drowned in a shrill blast that echoes off the walls of the surrounding tenements. A cloud of smoke slowly parts in the air as the lieutenant steps back and says to himself,
God damn it.
a lot of things were wrong with that shot. The fellow's desk was the wrong choice. His shoulders were raised, but above all, he cannot trust his eyesight. He feels bad about it, about his eyes mostly, just having bad eyesight, probably from a young age. Whatever you do, do not console him.
Fucking idiot! Mulka-bat asshole!
Kuno could have hit it easy, but then Kuno's not fucking handicapped, is he?
No, we are lucky as it is. We didn't break anything, and the victim remains uncompromised. Any more mistakes could put us in an unfortunate position with the locals. We have eyes on us. I didn't do us any favors with that. I have to say, it's beginning to look unlikely we can get him down without assistance.
You know, you don't feel like too bad of a shot yourself.
It's bad as it is, us shooting firearms like punks here. Go ahead, I'm not stopping you. Just don't hit the victim.
They only have one gun!
Oops.
This is the sorriest pair of pigs Kuno's ever seen.
Officer, why do we only have one gun?
The lieutenant follows suit. He finishes loading the gun in silence, then hands it to you.
Yeah, take it, you fucking banana boyka! Take it and shoot yourself in the mouth!
The cold piece of bakelite and gunmetal is surprisingly light. Your fingers fit right through the guard, instinctively resting on the trigger. You've held this, an A9 armistice, before. At some point, it probably used to be your choice of firearm. It still feels comfortable, like you never laid it down.
The fuck are you waiting for, Kuno? Tell him to shoot himself in the mouth!
The buckle comes into focus in your sights. You stand with your feet planted firmly in the ground and your left hand supporting your gun arm.
Why don't you just shoot yourself in your mouth? At least you won't miss.
Your field of view narrows. The branch slowly moves, becoming entirely two-dimensional. The metal buckle glimmers, catching the noon light as the corpse slowly rotates. The slow movement of the branch in the wind and your shoulders directing the gun sync up, dancing hypnotically.
Look, he's crying! You gonna cry now, fucking faggoty?
The buckle explodes into tiny pieces, coming loose with a whir. With your hand numb from the recoil, you look at the body slump down. For a moment, the man appears to kneel in front of you, looking straight at you, helpless, trapped within itself.
Communism.
It takes a millisecond for the association to flash within your cortex. You have no idea where it's coming from, only that it's right. Then the rigor in his muscles gives up, and he smashes sideways into the spring mud, letting out a horrid stench.
Aces high.
The ace is high, a custom invented by the aerostatic brigades during the revolution, is used to celebrate success in Revachol, especially in sports. The gesture is spread across the world despite the defeat of the revolutionaries themselves. You could add an ace's low to it, if you like, by turning your back after the high and waiting for another. The high arrives with a sharp slap. As you turn around, there is a moment of doubt. Feels like that low ain't gonna connect. Chill, it's gonna connect. But then it does, and with furious precision. The lieutenant is not one to leave an ace's low hanging.
I knew these guys were f***ed.
Kuno cracks with laughter. Sounds like someone strangling a seagull. It's clear he enjoys himself.
I knew they suck each other off.
We will perform a field autopsy and determine the cause of death. But before... Excuse me. The stench is getting bad. I'm sorry to interrupt the jubilations here. I need a little breather before we do the autopsy. Yes, the 4 phases of a murder scene. 1. Investigation of the scene. I can't say I'm fully satisfied with that part. We should search for prints, maybe. 2. Initial examination of the victim. We were exhaustive in our efforts there. Good job. 3. Field autopsy. This will not be pleasant or easy, and it will have to be performed on the scene.
The fuck are they on about?
Cops are gonna cut his shit up next.
4 and final, transport of the coroner's case to the district morgue. I'll do that. God, it stinks. No, you and I are detectives. The honorary rank of detective signifies our ability to handle the entire incident chain. From crime scene to autopsy to cleanup, we do it all. An honor and a burden attached to your rank. Mine is Lieutenant Detective, unfortunately. I can't tell you how tired I am of this corpse. With shooting like that? Of course you are. Your station would not have assigned you to this case otherwise. In the meantime, we should interview Evrard Claire, the leader of the Union. Harbor property was clearly used in the hanging. The harbor is just east of here, and we've already found a way in. I would also suggest we interview Joyce, the Wild Pines representative, but we've already done that, so good for us. 1 down, 1 to go. Yes, and those were the interviewees. Let's go.
There are several footprints in the mud, left by work boots. Anywhere from 6 to 12 pairs have walked here. Heavy workers' boots with reinforced toes and hobnails, all over the yard. Isn't this something an industrial worker would wear?
Noted.
Maybe more than 12. No, 8 pairs of boots have shuffled back and forth in the mud. 1. Standard work boot, steel reinforced toes, number 46. 2. Standard work boot, steel reinforced toes, number 44. 3. Hobnailed work boot, steel reinforced toes, number 43. 4. Standard work boot, number 45 or 46? You don't know. It's a miracle you can tell the prints apart as it is. The cold must have preserved them. 5. Another standard work boot, steel reinforced toes, number 44. 6. An aberration, light as air, even pace, same make of boot, but number 41. Impossible to tell. Could also have been an adolescent. The gait is undeveloped. You're not bad. It's as if the whole world darkens. Everything else has a thin film of unimportance on it, and the tracks burn in the middle of it, in a strange, beautiful way. 7. The glowing outline of a standard work boot, number 46, but the imprints are twice as deep as the others. The weight exceeds 200 kilograms. 8. And yet another standard work boot, number 44. There's an aberration in the pattern of the sole, however. The right sole is smoother, more worn.
How many? I was pretty off then. I counted 20. I never got the hang of it. Hyperopia. Do you see anything out of the ordinary? A woman or a kid? Understood. Anything else? 200? Could it be the combined weight of two people, one carrying the other who's tied up? Let's say a heavily built worker carrying a similarly built, soon-to-be-dead man.
He might be right. 200 kilograms of living weight is unlikely.
Possibly, yes. A woman or a kid? Okay. How do you know?
He knows it's hard to discern sex from a person's gait.
Understood. Anything else? Interesting. Let's name it the Old Soul.
Oh, this one's easy. Way too easy. It's a driver.
With a piece of sandpaper glued to the throttle. Which means that the missing lady driver was also present at the lynching? That's it. She's the Old Soul. We've identified one of the footprints, but there are still 7 to go. A week, maybe? 7 days would fit the time frame provided to us by the caller, who reported the hanging.
It is not impossible.
I pulled last week's forecast for coastal Havashol. 7 days below freezing. The day before, the day of his hanging, was the last warm day.
Correct again. Sub-zero temperatures would preserve the tracks in a good state. The commotion here could have taken place a week ago.
What do I think? A mob of people brought something heavy to the tree. One of them was carrying the victim. They shuffled around, especially under the tree. Then, after hoisting him up, they stood in a semicircle facing his direction. At first glance, this appears to be a lynching.
Indeed, they all stood in a row here and looked at the tree.